Shogun.
The show that made Sean take out a 7 day trial of Disney Plus. So tell us about Shogun, Sean.
Okay, so Shogun. So this is based on a James Clavell book, so it's historical fiction, and there was a TV miniseries. Was it 70s or 80s? But
I think it was early 80s with Richard Chamberlain.
So basically, it's like a dynastic Japanese law. You know, you've got these lords, these dynastic lords, and the shogun has died, and there's a council that sort of looking after the son of the shogun, and there's a lot of court intrigue, and they want to obviously get rid of one. They want to get rid of one of the lords, if you like, a bit like, you know, Wars of the Roses. So you get lots of factions, you get lots of things going on. That's basically the background to it. But there's an Englishman sailor that gets sort of shipwrecked, and his crew get shipwrecked, and his crew but they're interested in finding out stuff about him, and so they're very skeptical of him. They call him the Anjin, and obviously this is a subtitle, so when they speak in Japanese, it's all like subtitled, and they're very wary of him, and they think he's a barbarian and a heathen and stuff like that. But they decide to sort of accept him, if you will, because he's really good with artillery, with cannons, you know, and firearms and things like that. And of course, this is in the time when gunpowder's sort of just starting to become a thing, if you like. So
roughly what year is this set in, Sean? Roughly, is it like Elizabeth for us? You know,
it'd be equivalent to medieval times, really. I would say it'd be equivalent to our like 1400s. So
okay, you know, so quite early then for that sort of
quite early,
traveling across the sea.
Yeah. It's not like a Last Samurai type thing. It's very much still.
I was thinking just the era of like Drake and sort of that.
No, it's before that.
You've more got like Columbus type.
Yeah. The other series, the Portuguese have been there before, and they've set up all this thing, and they're trying to instill. So there's a bit of Christianity that comes into it, and obviously, the Englishman he's not Catholic, he's Protestant. So all the way through, you've got this scene, and originally it turns out that he was sent there to stop the Portuguese becoming you know, involved.
Too pally
with the Japans. So you've got this whole thing, this intrigue going on, and there's going to be a bit of a battle, but one side, there's an earthquake which decimates one of the person, so there's some other intrigue. There's some females in it, which there's a bit of chemistry with, you know, what it never really comes to much. But they've got different customs, and the one, but it's probably in the film anyway, that he kills a pheasant, and he says, that needs to be hung up. And they think it's all dirty and all that. He says if anyone gets rid of it, they're for the chop basically. But the gardener gets rid of it, and then he wakes up one day. He's had this real nice relationship, and they've done the gardener because he got rid of the pheasant because it was getting too. And he didn't he didn't mean it. He didn't mean to. It was just a misunderstanding. But because the gardener got rid of the pheasant, the Japanese killed him, you know, the family said.
Yeah, so
a lot of honor,
like a real sort of like culture clash.
Culture clash, yeah.
That's actually in the original series, so that's an incident that was in the Richard Chamberlain.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They couldn't do that. So anyway, and then so that's basically the story, the background. You've got an Englishman, you've got some Portuguese, you've got a dynastic struggle going on with different factions. Okay, so. Now my thoughts on it. This was beautifully shot, absolutely beautifully shot, and the costumes the cinematography was fabulous. The action scenes were fabulous, and all the episodes are really good. I enjoyed, except for the last episode. So the last episode was a total disappointment.
Really
was, yeah. So I know this. I think it was, again, we're talking expectations. So my expectations were probably dashed but having said that, it was a good series. It was a really, really good series. Cinematography was absolutely beautiful, action scenes, and there was a couple of actors in there that I really, really liked. Not the main ones, but there were a couple of actors which it's almost like a switchy side sort sort of, he's a bit.
Yeah,
One of the lords, like he's a bit with one side, and then he looks out for himself, shall we say? He's a bit, any opportunity type thing. So
is it a bit your Jimbo?
Yeah, a little bit that sort of type. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. As I say, maybe.
Could I ask? So just one thing with that ending, with the final episode and the letdown and everything, is this a book that you have read?
No.
Have you seen the original series?
Bits of the original series, but not.
Okay, so it's not like you know how the story went, and you don't know whether that's the way the story goes, or whether they deviated from the story.
No, I was probably, I don't know what year. What year would it have been?
1980 was when the original series came out.
I'd have been into other things then. I'd have been 20 years old, so I would have been. It would have been, that was sort of, I might have been in, I might have been out, I might have been doing this, I might have been doing that. So it was probably.
All right, cool, good stuff.
Yeah. So.
All right, good. So it's not a change. It's just you're very happy with it.
What I'm thinking is perhaps where it was like a little bit of a binge watch as well. Maybe that was something to do with it, but that could be a possible.
Okay. We're getting back to the psychology of this new world, or the psychology of the watching things in the streaming age. Is if I binge something like all the way. Let's say I binge. And this even started before we had streaming. I remember the first real binge thing that I ever really did was 24, when they used to release the DVD box sets. Yeah, the box sets of 24.
Yeah.
And I remember that there was one season of 24 where I stayed up all night and watched about 8 hours of 24 back to back, and until the sun came up the next morning. And whenever I do a binge, I never feel good at the end of it. And I don't think I've ever done a binge where I've been happy when I finished it. And I think that there's something about the nature of binging that I think ruins your enjoyment of the final thing. But it's funny you say that, because I just thought it was just me. But each time so sometimes even if I binge something, I try and stop. Like maybe watch 3 or 4 of them, try and stop. Yeah. And then maybe watch the last 2 or something like that, because it's almost like a fresh palate. Then it makes it better. But I just think it's really funny that you say that. But
I wondered if that was maybe something to do with it, and I also wonder if I was expecting something really spectacular that didn't appear. Maybe, should we say?
Or that was never going to happen.
Perhaps something you didn't see happen. You know what I mean?
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So.
All right. So, but how many stars would you give it?
I think it does deserve a 4. I think it does deserve a 4, even though. Should I say a 3? Yeah. No, it's got to be a 4, because I think it was terrifically well done. It was lovely cinematography.